me, yeah, let's see.
Great, we are live.
Yes.
Yippee!
So you control there?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, good evening.
It's 1 minute still for
it's
for
true.
it.
But I think we are gonna start. Yeah, so good evening, good afternoon,
Hi,
or good
everyone.
even morning from
Yes.
wherever you are tuning in from. And welcome to our last free masterclass for the communication series. We already did 3, and this is the 4th and the final one. And we will be discussing basically how to deliver a great online presentation this time, not face-to-face with the audience.
Yes.
But first things first, of course,
Yes. Let's introduce ourselves again.
just in case if you're not
So-
familiar with us.
Yeah, if you didn't saw the other free master classes, yeah, we need to introduce ourselves. So I'm Katya. Nice to meet you all. And yeah, I'm a biologist. I did my master. I'm a wet lab researcher, okay? So I did my master, then I did a PhD in epigenetics and cancer. After 2 postdocs, and the last thing that I did was Australia and as a team leader in a single cell group of technology development. And so when I look back and I think, okay, when did I start my online talks, online presentations? Well, when COVID started. I arrived to Australia 1 week before they closed the borders, when everything was start happening COVID. So basically I start with my team and everyone stayed at home. So it was like, okay, let's do online talks, online meetings. And it was then when I start doing online presentations using mainly Zoom, that back then I didn't know from any place. I didn't know what was Zoom. I was using Skype, but just to talk with my friends basically. But yeah, those days I start with Zoom, everyone start learning. It was kind of adaptation to an online environment. And yeah, since then I never let it go. And now we are both working from home and everything happens online. Yeah. So yeah, and what about you?
So yeah, I mean, I'm Osama. I'm a pharmacist by training and neuroscientist. I'm a senior neuroscientist, and I did my PhD, a couple of postdocs. I'm a senior scientist in neuroscience. But my actually interaction with the online presentation started way before the lockdown, way before the COVID situation. Because during my PhD, I remember that my lab head, the supervisor, he was on a sabbatical leave in Stanford. And I did my PhD in Switzerland, and we had to really meet on a regular basis and do presentations to him, all the lab, not only me, through Skype back then. Back then Zoom was not existing, I think, and we were doing it through Skype. So I learned how to do really presentations and to do everything online. Besides, also during the end of my PhD, also I was mentoring 2 high schools actually in France on 2 consecutive years in order to prepare them for doing science communication competitions. So I was doing also through Skype a lot of online meetings with presentations, and they were presenting also to me in order to give them feedback and everything. So my actually interaction and encounter to online presentation started before COVID. But of course, I mean, during the COVID situation, everything became online, and we needed really to invest a lot of time and energy learning the tips and tricks on how to improve our presentations online.
Yeah, and this is what we will talk today, okay? But before, we just want to summarize what we talked in the last free masterclasses about presentation, public speaking. So we talked that there are different phases. The first one is the planning phase, and here is where we have to do certain questions, like what will be the topic, what will be the attendees, how many minutes we will have, what will be the venue. So we need answers to all these questions to be more prepared to go to the preparation phase. And in the preparation phase, what we need to do is, okay, what is the main message that we want to pass to the audience, right? and then we need to see the structure of our presentation. And here we have to decide what are the main topics that we need to cover, okay? And after this, we need to prepare slides. In the case, we will use slides, of course, because maybe you will not use them. You'll just use a whiteboard, or even not that, just some notes in a paper, okay? So, but if we are using slides, we need to prepare our slides in PowerPoint, Canva, Prezi. So there are different platforms, but most part of the people, they use PowerPoint. Yeah. So this is the preparation phase. Whenever we have everything, our presentation prepared, we need to go to the third phase, that is deliver. We need to do our talk to an audience, okay? And in this delivery is really, really important, depending if you are doing our presentation in person or online. But in person is really, really important, the different things, the verbal, so what we write, the graphics, all that, and also the non-verbal communication. What is non-verbal is our body, if we move our hands, our tone of voice, if we are looking at people. So this is also really important. But today we will focus more in the online presentation. Well, only on online presentations, that the way we should deliver, what we have to have in our mind, it's different if it is in person or if it is online. So yeah, we will start.
So exactly, so I actually take it from what Katja just mentioned, and just to let you know that doing an online presentation, you still need to pass through the different phases that Katja just mentioned right now, which is planning, preparation, and then in the delivery itself. One of the challenges in the online presentation is that there is much more kind of reliance on the verbal communication in this part. So for example, in a real life scenario where you are delivering this on a stage or auditorium in front of people, even if you prepare really mediocre slides and your slides are really not well prepared, if you are charismatic and using your non-verbal communication part, your body language, your voice, your eye contact and all the gestures, you can actually pass by and you can really deliver a good presentation even if the slides are not really well prepared. But in the online presentation it's different, because the slides will be basically what the audience will be seeing. You are sharing your slides with them, so they will be basically listening to you and seeing your slides. So there is a bigger role for the verbal communication, which is basically what you are saying and what you are writing in your slides. And our number one tip for this part or this challenge is that to keep your slides very simple as possible. Our suggestion is that one figure or one idea per slide. And even if this figure is really complicated, like if you are explaining a pathway or explaining a specific process that is composed of different steps, it is better really to use this kind of technique that we call spoon feeding. Instead of really showing the entire figure on spot, you actually break it down into small processes and very small chunks for the audience to be able to really follow. So what happens is that if it's a pathway, just start with the first step, explaining it. After you finish, you just add the other, use animation in order to really add one element at a time until you have the final kind of figure created. So keep it simple, one element or one idea, one figure per slide. This is the very important thing.
And the second challenge that we face when doing online presentations is minimal or lack of feedback. What does it mean? People seem that they are not there. For example, when I'm presenting always online, and when you share the screen, of course, the speaker only see the slides, no? And you are talking to the screen. You don't see if people are there. Sometimes I even am afraid that something is disconnected and people are not listening to me.
Sure.
It's very strange. You are alone. You don't know. You don't have the feedback from the other side. And this doesn't happen in person. When you are presenting in person, we see if people are interested, if they are sleeping. It happens.
The reaction right away.
Yeah, the reaction right away is like immediately. We need what is happening. If people are in the mobile, if they are not, if they are paying attention. This doesn't happen online in online presentations. So what can we do to make it happen? To have more interaction? We can do two things. The first is the kind of checkups, okay, if people are listening what we are saying, if they are understanding. So more, it depends on the topic that we are presenting, but more or less each 3 to 5 slides we should ask people, is this clear, or even just summarize what we said before and ask, okay, is this clear, did you understand? To be honest, people, the first thing that they do is not to reply, so they don't interact. But what you can do, and what we do, is you stop sharing the screen, okay, and you say, okay guys, just for me to know if you understand, if I need to explain a little bit more, use the emojis, okay, to say thumbs up if everything's okay, thumbs down if you didn't understand, or a smile, something like that. And like this you will get feedback. There people will already interact with you, and it's like you get their attention again if they were distracted with something else. Because when we are at home or in listening online talks, is very, very easy for us to distract. More, I will say, more than when it's in person.
Yeah,
okay?
I think actually you lose the connection with the
Yes.
speaker, and that's why this kind of trick of stop sharing the screen and then return back to turning on your camera where people are seeing you, they reconnect with you better, like this.
And the second thing that we can do is the polls, okay? But to do a poll, to launch a poll, we need to prepare before we are doing the presentation. So if you want to see, for example, I do some in the beginning, the middle of my talks about single cell technology, the first that I do is to see if my attendees, okay, people that are in the other side of the screen, they know about single cell technology. So I prepare previously a poll that asks, do you know or did you did any experiment about single cell technology? And they have to reply yes or no. So what I do is, okay guys, I will do a poll now, please reply. So, and I launch the poll, but this really needs to be prepared previously. Okay, you need to have the polls already prepared just to launch when you are doing your presentation. So this is other way of interact with people. They will reply and you can continue, and like this you break a little bit and get their attention again, and you continue. So,
but also sometimes, just to adding something here, is you can build the interaction from the get-go, from the start actually, before sharing the screen. You can even start interacting with them to break the ice, to make them at ease, asking them how was their day. Like for example, how many of them are PhD students, how many of them are senior scientists, how many of them doing what exactly. Show that you are interested, and show that they can actually share their experiences, share their thoughts in the beginning, and like this in the checkpoints when you're asking questions or sharing something, they will be kind of motivated because they already interacted with you in the beginning. So you are not a stranger anymore.
Yes, that's it. As you said, we need to show that we are interested in what they are thinking, basically. So
it's very important. So this is the second challenge. And the third challenge, and only we are discussing these 3 challenges today, as expected, it is the poor knowledge of the online technology. So I will just ask you something, which is, what is the most famous question that we hear on Zoom? Everyone
or a sentence.
Let's always like this. Maybe I will leave you a few seconds for you to guess. If you can, right?
Yeah, by the way, any questions that you have, just
write in the
chat and we will reply, or
So basically the most famous actually sentence that we hear in Zoom, for example, or other platforms is that you are on mute. This is actually, it's not me, it's the statistics saying this. So you are on mute. It's very frequent. Why you are on mute while you are talking? Basically because a lot of us are not very familiar with the technology that we are using in delivering an online presentation. So whatever this platform is, either it's Zoom, Skype, or whatever other system that you are using, it's very important for us to really know the ins and outs of this technology, in order also to help us in our presentation. Like for example, if you would like Katya mentioned, want to interact by preparing a poll, how to prepare the poll, how to launch the poll, how to share the results with the audience, how to share documents, how to share a link, how to share a video, how to share the screen, how to make applicants or like attendees enter, and how you be the host or the co-host. All these things are very important. So know your technology, and it's very important that you would rehearse your presentation with the platform that you are going to deliver your presentation through. This is of highest importance, because if you have a very finest product and you are very proud of your presentation as in terms of slides, in terms of delivery and everything, but you didn't test the technology itself, sometimes you will get surprised that a lot of things that can go wrong during the delivery itself on the online platform, and it will really affect the reaction and the reception of the people who are listening to you.
Yeah, here I have two stories.
Yes. Okay.
One is that every time that I did a talk in a conference, they always ask, like maybe 2 weeks before the event, they ask, can you have some time slot to test, to check your presentation? And I always think, for what? Come on, I'm used to do a lot of online talks, right? Mm-hmm. But already twice it happens that they were not using the Zoom. They were not using Zoom platform. Mm-hmm. So when I tried, it was completely different. It was not Google Meet or Microsoft Teams, nothing. It was a different one, special for the conference. Yeah. And when I did my presentation, I passed through my slides. I saw that the ratio, like the format, was not correct, and my slides were cutted. So I need to change. So it's really, really important to do that. If it's not for a conference, even if it's for a live meeting, you should train while alone before the event or before the talk. Other thing that happened also in the conference was a PI. She was presenting, and she was all her presentation 20 minutes on mute. Okay, all. Why? The people that were basically
the organizers.
Yeah, thank you. Organizers were trying to send her. They wrote in the chat, they sent email, but she was not looking because she was focused on the
autopilot.
Yes, she was really focused on the presentation until they were able to call her. But when they called, it was already over. Too late. Yeah. It was for the Q&A. So she was 20 minutes on mute. And her presentation, of course, no one
listened anything, just see the slides.
Yes, yes. So this can happen. This can really, really happen.
Yeah, it's a pity actually, because I'm sure that this PI or the presenter spent time preparing, like it's a pity. And she, of course, she couldn't repeat it because if you're in a conference, you have time slots and you will not be able to do anything. So I mean, your effort and your time and your hard work, in the end, because of not testing or not familiar with the technology that you're using, it was in vain.
I have a colleague of mine that put a post-it what he needs to do before he start talking, because it's true, we are kind of a little bit nervous with a talk, and in person you just start talking, right?
Exactly,
everyone is listening.
Exactly.
But online it's not like that. Sometimes we are mute and we don't realize that we are mute because we are just focused and giving our presentation fast as you can. So
and sometimes you forget to check the chat because for example, if there is a problem in the sound or in the slides in the chat, it happened to me also once that there was a problem with the slides, but because I checked the chat like every couple of minutes, so it was not really big chunk that I needed to repeat, and I really managed to save the day. But it's a very good suggestion to have kind of a standard operating procedure, a small post-it that you can put next to the camera, and then I need to check the chat, I need to check if I'm not on mute, all these kind of checkpoints in order for you not to forget.
Yeah, and it's really important in the beginning when you share your screen, when you start giving your presentation, in the first slide before you start, just ask, "Hi guys, are you listening to me? Are you seeing my
Seeing the
slides?"
slides.
So always, if you do these questions, you will be sure that everything is okay. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so enough with the challenges, these
Yes.
3 challenges that we have just discussed,
Yes.
but we also would like to share with you some tips, very important for online presentations, and they might
Yeah.
seem trivial, but collectively all these tips that we will mention, they make a huge difference. They can have a very harsh impact if you don't consider them.
Turn camera on. This is crucial, is obligatory for the speakers. We have to turn the camera on. Otherwise, we will lose our audience. We will
A big
not
chunk of them,
establish.
they are not connecting. Yeah.
We will not establish a connection with them because it will be a screen, okay, like a black screen with sound. And this is not. I also feel that is respect people. Turn on the camera.
Yeah, respect,
the
and
speakers.
also for the person who's receiving, also it's awkward to see my computer is speaking to me, you know, like I need to see the person behind that.
If you are an attendee, I know that most of the times when you join the meeting, the camera is turned off and you are on mute. It's
automatically.
If you can turn on your camera, if you cannot, just put your photo in the profile photo, okay? Because as a speaker, I thought myself, it's really nice to put a face in the different black screens, you know? So it's really nice to have the feeling that there are people in the other side. But of course, here is not crucial. What is crucial is really turn the camera on if you are a speaker. This is basic for me.
Yeah, it's very important. And even though that as audience, for example, at the end of the day, you see the slides much more, and the speaker, it's a small box with the face of the speaker. But sometimes it makes difference. At least for me, I really like to see the slides, and I keep the face of the speaker in one of the corners, you know, just to see the impressions, the facial expressions of the speaker. You know, I don't really turn off this box of the speaker, so it is quite important.
Yeah.
The second tip that is very important also is the location, lighting, and backdrop. So the location, you need to choose a location where you don't have noise, background noise, like don't go to the kitchen while people are eating, for example, or next to a machine that is running and making a loud noise. The lighting, when we turn on our cameras, for example, the lighting is very important. You need to have the lighting in front of you in order to have enough light next to you, but not behind you, in order not to blind the people who are watching you. And a backdrop, so a background that is representable. If you have a representable place at your place, for example, or in the lab that you can do the presentation through, then you can use this place. Otherwise, if you don't have, and you don't have very representable place, then there are a lot of backgrounds that you can download. We have also on our website like free downloadable ones. But also Zoom, for example, if you're using Zoom, it has virtual backgrounds that are very nice, and you can use one of them if you don't have. Also, you can prepare part in your place for a very nice like background, like we have here in our office. It's just like 1 meter by 1 meter, that it's kind of nice. And when we do online presentations with the, of course, camera on, we always like to have it as our backdrop. So this is very important, this part.
Yeah. And other tip is the camera angle, okay? Because it needs to be at the level of our eyes, okay, the camera. If not, what can happen? We will give you examples, okay? If you put the camera like this, you will not see us.
We are in our pajamas, for example, or in
we
underwear,
are not, but you can be.
Even.
Or, as Osama was saying, what can happen?
Can you see me? Can you hear me?
So or if you are like this and you have the camera down, you know, like this, you can have a double chin if it's here down. So the camera should be like at the level of your eyes, basically. And be careful with this. So some people, they don't be careful, and
Especially
sometimes we are.
if the camera is lower, it might be perceived as condescending, like you are in a really higher
Yeah.
rank than others and speaking from a throne,
So
this
this
quite
is something,
important.
simple, but it's not.
Yeah.
So
And finally testing 1, 2, 3. So really testing is crucial.
Yeah.
Test your presentation, test the videos that are embedded, test the technology itself by sharing the poll, sharing the questions, sharing the results, how to do this. Also, I'm sure that some of you might not be familiar, is that you can actually not only share the screen or the slides, you can share only part of your desktop where you have the slides, and then instead of being in the presentation mode, you can be in the presenter mode where you share only the slides to the people, so they see only the slides, but then you have the notes right next to what you are sharing. So these kind of things you will never learn unless you really read and check what are the options that are on this platform, whether it's Zoom or other things. So testing is really key to have a really successful online presentation.
If you don't know, just Google it or YouTube.
Yeah, exactly.
YouTube,
you find
can just
crash courses and tips about the tools, like a lot of tools that we are not using, a lot of people are not using at all. Simple tools, like the ones that are using emojis, for example, instead of chat. If you are following, thumbs up. If you are not following, thumbs down.
Yes.
That's it. I see people after the presenter finishes, some of them they are clapping, some of them are doing thumbs up, that they enjoyed the presentation. So this is good, but this needs to really increase. I remember that I was invited for a series of seminars, weekly seminars, and I was the last one to present in this year. So they had a lot of seminars throughout the years, like 52 weeks, and I was the only one who used poll, to the extent that the organizers told me, how can we do this, let's test it. And then we did the test, because you need to prepare the question of the poll beforehand. I had a couple of questions, and then how to share the results with the audience afterwards. It is not easy. You need to test it several times. You cannot do it on spot. So that's why testing is very important.
Yes.
So just to wrap up again, the challenges mainly that we mentioned about not knowing the technology, and about the lack of feedback and how to overcome such thing, and of course that the reliance on your presentation much more than the non-verbal part, because you are not facing the audience. And finally, testing to overcome these challenges. You need to really be able to know the ins and outs of this technology and test it. It's preferable, of course, to test it with someone, if you have the luxury of testing this with someone on the other end, like conferences, sometimes they do it. But if you don't, there is this option in Zoom as well, where you can record yourself alone in the meeting. Just launch a meeting and you do everything alone, and then you check the recordings if everything was smooth enough or not. So this is very important, testing, especially for the online, because you never know the technology. Even with testing, it happened to me several times that I tested several times and there is a problem that happens. But if there is a problem happens on the day we are presenting, you're familiar, because you really know, you're expert kind of on the platform itself, and in no time you really will be able to fix it. You will be able to really react quicker than someone who never tested.
These things happen. It's live, and always live events. It happens different things, and it's that. And also sometimes the speakers have problem, and you can just help them. So it's really important to know the platform that you will use.
So this actually concludes this series, the communication series. This is the end of the 4th free webinar, and we would like to ask if there are any questions concerning this series, the presentation in general, and then this. And if you have any questions, just write in the chat or shout out and send us an email, or on our Facebook, Instagram, YouTube channel, whatever, email. Just drop us a line and tell us your concern or your doubts, and we will be able to, we will happily actually reply.
We will be waiting a little bit because there is a delay between the platform that we are using and both YouTube
and Instagram.
So just place your questions.
Yes.
Whatever. And so while you are writing,
Exactly.
if there are questions in the meanwhile,
we are very excited.
Yeah. So first, we continue with our free masterclasses all Thursdays at 8 p.m. This is the first thing. Okay, it will be different topics rather than presenting. Okay, but most excited we are because we will start a 2-week presentation challenge. Okay, so we will open the registrations next Monday, and the week after we will start this challenge. And what do we want with this challenge? Okay, first, what we want you to learn how to craft or to design or to prepare a science presentation, a good, great, amazing science presentation. This is what we want, and we are sure that you will be able to learn this in 14 days.
And the very important thing about this challenge, simply it works because you will learn by doing. So it is very important that you can watch a lot of YouTube videos, or you see people telling you tips and things. But if you don't do it yourself, it is quite difficult to really learn it and consolidate and store it. So what's really nice about this challenge is that it's learning by doing. It will be within 14 days only. Because we know that everyone is busy. It's only 14 days within the weekdays, not the weekends. Weekends only for relaxing and switching off. 14 days will be every day. There will be a task.
A small task.
Achievable task. So even for the most busy people, they will be able really to fit in your schedule. And the step itself will be released the day before. So like this, I know tomorrow what is the task that I need to do, and I would manage as a participant to put where exactly the best time to really work on this task. The task will never exceed, I would say, half an hour, 45 minutes tops to really achieve this task.
Besides that, you will have our support because we will be doing this through Slack channel. Okay, you will have all day our support to answer questions, doubts, give you tips for you to be able to execute these simple tasks in the best way. And at the end of these 14 days, you will have your amazing presentation, that you will be sharing with us, and we will give you the feedback. So if it's amazing, we will not give anything.
We will be happy actually that
we'll be happy.
Our instructions and tips really worked, and you really managed to craft a great presentation.
But of course, what we want is to give do a coaching session. This will be a group coaching session
on how to improve.
For each individual. To give tips how to improve, what you should improve, and this is our plan.
And throughout the 14 days also, other than the Slack channel where we will be step by step with you answering all the questions, we will be providing templates for the exercises and the tasks that you will be asked to do, and at the same time an ebook. By the end, we will give you an ebook that really summarizes all the process of crafting this presentation step by step, like this, as a reference for you. It's a roadmap for you for the future. And the beauty of this challenge would be that you, by the end of the challenge, you would craft your presentation where we give you feedback, and like this, by the next time where you really need to prepare a presentation at work or for a conference, you already trained yourself on doing a proper presentation, and you will be familiar, will be confident, and this will really boost your self-confidence and reassurance that you managed to do an amazing presentation for your work.
You basically will be prepared and knowing how to do a presentation. And do we have some
if you have any questions about the communication part or for this challenge, anyways, this challenge we will have more details next week. but it will be basically launched next week, and then it will start the week after.
Yes.
So any questions, you have our handles for social network. You can shout out or send us an email, and we'll be more than happy to address all your doubts.
Yeah.
And in the meanwhile, there are no questions,
there are
so
no
we
questions.
wish you a very nice and pleasant evening,
Yes.
or
Or
morning or
morning.
afternoon,
Whatever.
and take care and stay safe.
And see you next week. Okay. So, by the way, next week our masterclass will not be really a masterclass. Will be the launch, the party. Okay. The inauguration party of Advice for Life Scientists Academy.
Yes.
Okay. So stay tuned. We will share with you. But yeah, basically we will do a party.
Yes.
Because we are starting our academy, and we will explain you more after.
Yes.
So next week will be that. Yes.
Yeah.
So
stay tuned.
Yes. Bye.
Okay.
See you.
See you. Ciao.
Ciao.